Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches.
Good morning, Vietnam. What up, everybody? The real Nomics, cause and effect, coming back at you. So, good way to close out Friday. Had a pretty good read on that day for everybody. Hope everybody had a fire ass last week. Closed it out strong. How's everybody doing this morning? Nice restful weekend, I hope. I had one. It's pretty good. So what's poppin'? What's poppin'? Let's take a look at some things that came out last week. Actually, we're going to take a look at the Dow 100 before we go do that, and then we're going to close him out. Ready to do some winning? I like that. It's a good attitude to have. All right, let's see. You guys got any questions to kick the day off? You guys are just ready to win, huh? So this is a S&P one. It's a Dow. I'm sorry, 3 month. Let's see something here. There's two of you guys. That's not him. Thought I put you in the Dow 100. Where's the Dow 100? I might be mixed up this morning, but I can't seem to find that bitch. There he is. It's like, what the fuck is going on right now? This shit flips me out. Did I really fucking TA the other symbol? Oh my god. Ah, you people fuck me up with this so much. God damn it. When they change this fucking symbol, that's fucking gone. I gotta stop doing that shit. I was like, what the fuck is this doing in the Dow 100 chart? Son of a bitch. Alright, well, yeah. This was like, I guess easier the symbol just to simplify what we've been talking about in a different show. So we'll go back to the other one. Fucking shit. So I dropped this in a Telegram last night. This was the March 12th update that we had on the way down. And which looks like, you know, we're on our way to doing that. If you guys can see that one. It says March 12th is down here. So this has been dropped on the way down in the shows that we did in on the way down in the Corona dive. And looking at this, you know, if we do extend out like it looks like we are, this was the next leg. So this is what some we had forecasted for. Black Monday 2 or Black Plague 2 or coronavirus or Spanish flu fractal, what the fuck ever you want to call it, that's unraveling markets at the moment is similar to Black Monday 1, should to be Fractal Icebox 1, which is the PPT lows of Xmas 2018, before taking some time to set itself up for the second extension of leg 3, which should see a real urgency for humans to hedge or survival and put a tailwind behind space cash, moon, Mars, asteroid mining, and more. And with China launching out there and the US having a little bit of trouble but getting out there, and the UAE, you do have your second space race well underway directly out of COVID, Black Monday 2 fractal. So we are in the heart of that now, and I believe this becomes a more dominant story, you know, over the next couple of years. So that being said, this is a lot going on this chart. We're not going to go over that one this morning. We'll do that another day when we do Space Cash Special. So let's see. I'm going to catch up if you guys have any questions yet. DXY4X, yeah, we could take a look at that. Shanghai Comp, I know I missed it last week. I'll try and pull that up for you. Weaver M. Jordan. Or Telegram isn't a place to drop charts for confirmation bias. What you think of your charts is more important than what we think of them. That's not our Telegram. Telegrams work like that. It's not like a place. Hey, I got this TA. What do you think? That's the wrong place. We have an ecosystem where people study the works of that public and learn to basically apply those logics in their TA and gain their own confidence doing it. It is definitely not the place to be like, what do you think of my charts? People will ignore you if you come into that channel with that kind of attitude. Shopify, we could talk about Shopify. Do you have any advice on how to manage overtrading or revenge trading? Surely using journaling helps, but having rules like not exceeding a certain number of trades per day. I mean, just have a plan. That's it. Revenge trading and what you put your overtrading are all symptoms of not having an actual plan. If you come into the day with a plan that you know, targets that you had on your radar, they either trigger to take part in or they don't. But there is no overtrading or revenge trading if you're actually sticking to a business plan. That's not something that would happen. It only happens if you walk into your day and you're just sitting there pushing buttons. Can you do Apple? We'll look at Apple. Can you go over volume? That's really basic. What way would you want me to go over volume? Catching up. What the hell? Oh, that's me. I was like, what is that flash of light? Yeah, I'll get you a Telegram link today. Can't look over DraftKings. Yeah, we can look at a couple of things. All right, so got a couple of your questions. Let's go take a look at some things. Saw some Forex, DXY. We'll take a look at that. That was pretty good if you guys followed that last week. We had a hell of a sign from Forex to pay attention to, which was pretty cool. Let's check that guy. Nope. Still tracking the VIX. Always good to track him, right? We said to keep eyes on that 2360 level between him and Leon's FOMO. And our DXY, we had some really crazy confluence across like DXY basket, right? Let me zoom back out of this guy. So we had some key levels show up on it. We had a box range on the DXY that was worth paying attention to. At the same moment, a range on the Euro USD worth paying attention to. And at the same moment, yet again, a key level on the USD Swiss franc worth paying attention to, which came into being very, very significant and giving a recoil to the DXY. So if you guys have been paying attention to that, should have had a killer play on the DXY on Friday. Of course, that little DXY strength put a little headwind, but not much to gold. Gold stalled out, but this is zoomed out. But he's still, still pretty strong. So out of his shockwave, he's still holding ground right now. So not really the craziest headwind, but like a significant amounts in the currency markets that we want to keep an eye on, see if it like sustains or not. So walking into the morning, gold is still strong as piss, right? And that means these gold miners probably still look good on the back of this. See where these guys are this morning. Down ever so slightly. Yeah, there's the flag we drew in for them. So they still look good technically. A lot of people aren't really following this still. There's still a lot of things flying, the apples of the world. They're getting people's attention. So miners are getting to have a little creep while no one wants to watch it. Basic materials, would contain miners. Not like the greatest structure in that res, but rather bullish on higher time scales. Doing what we do at high levels, we want to always watch this, right? As the sector goes, we also done some wave analysis back here on basic materials. And this move had a, let's zoom out another level. We did that some time ago, but looking at the waveform at the highs of basic materials, you're at a pretty key level. It's been chopped once before COVID, chopped again right now, and if this gets free and clear, that's good for anybody that's contained within basics, even specialty chem and such. So something worth paying attention to on a basket-wide level. This is where the gold guys are, silver and gold guys, and all the other metals miners, and they don't look terrible. This is obviously best of breed within that, but the whole sector itself gets free. This can keep on really going, and I think with the like we said, liquidity that's added to the system, a reprice in metals is something that's just inevitable. So let me check, you guys. Anybody say anything? Alright, trying to see what you guys got here. What do you think about the tech company US stock and FANG? Is the prices are too high from the valuation? Prices and value don't have a place in the same sentence. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. If you ever start to talk about high prices equal overvalued, you don't actually know what you're talking about. That's pretty much the problem with the way people look at the market. Big numbers equal overvalued is children's thinking. That's not anything to do with fucking reality, and that's why it doesn't make any sense. If you see the shows where I talk about relative value and you look at things like Apple and Starbucks across the last decade, you'll soon realize prices are an illusion that mask value. Many people just don't actually understand what they're saying when you talk about it. Alright, trying to see here. Dividend stocks, always a good thing to have, things that have passive income. If you ever looked at Warren Buffett, he says, having multiple streams of income is the only thing that makes common sense. That's why he owns insurance businesses and different things. So, having, REITs and things like that pay you passive income, having investment properties, debt, all good ideas to have diversification of risk. So there's nothing wrong with that. How you select them is another story. But yeah, having assets that pay you passive streams of income is what wealth is all about. Alright, I think I caught up to all of that. Alright. Caught up to all that. So, finish moving around here. So everything we talked about Friday. Apple did his gap. It was pretty vicious. We said we'd have a gap, probably fucking fuck everybody up, and then fucking run in the back end of the day. Tech would rotate. And so we have seen that. So let's just look at Apple's structure now, because we said so goes Apple, so goes the market. This is a big fucking company to be moving at the speed he's moving. If you think about it, a lot of people want to attribute things like this to Robinhood. The market cap gains of Apple on Friday are equal to Robinhood plus 50%. To get perspective, Robinhood's entire valuation is $100 billion, and Apple gained that by itself on Friday. So to give you an idea, there's big money moving these companies. It's not fucking small speculator money that's doing it. It is the biggest money on the planet it takes to move the biggest company. And they've now passed Saudi Aramco in size. This is now the biggest company on the planet, moving at 10% in a day. You have to really give that some real thought for what the fuck it takes to move a $1.5 trillion company 10% in a day. It's not small capital. So with people trying to say like, the valuations are high, this, that, and the other, understand the smartest money is what's responsible for Apple being at the prices he is, not the dumbest. And that's why we tell you, so goes Apple, so goes the market, because Apple is like its own country, and it is a benchmark of value for many other assets that touch the same parts of the economy they do, and they touch a large economy. So saw the bull flag on this, broke out. He's broken through this. It's still pretty vicious. Amazon, some of these guys didn't follow through with him on the gap. Apple just really, really ripped people's faces off. Amazon kind of choked out on this, and he's still struggling to escape his shockwave. So watch to see if this can happen. Tesla, I think, is a little weak this morning. He's got some shares. He's no, is he back up again? He's back up already pre-market. Still sitting in this structure, still leaning. We're still waiting to see how this all resolves itself. But again, the market is bull. If we are really in that second leg extension of wave 3 for space cash, this will just continue to stun people. And you have to kind of mentally prepare yourself for that. If this is going to really keep extending, everyone wants to fucking call the end of it. And every one of these corrective structures looks like Armageddon. But the reality is, it looked like Armageddon for Tesla down here too. And people thought that before he ripped out here and killed people. So definitely worth keeping your eyes on some of the stuff that's going on here. Gold still looks good. Apple still looks good. New economy, antisocial rotations like Shopify, these guys, they all look pretty good. They're just not really stopping. As much as people want these things to come down, they've probably missed the boat, and this thing is going to just keep leaving them in the dust as it sits at all-time highs, breaking higher and higher and higher at these ridiculous prices. Tech looks like he's resumed his leadership again. This is the XLK tech sector within the S&P. And he's been chopping for a minute, when we look at like what he's been doing here, he's not been going anywhere really, but he looks finally ready with Apple's gap to go ahead and push out the highs. If he does and resumes his leadership, that's just really the beginning. That is just now leaving and breaking free of that high that we set there since July. So with that, we have the SMH semis that we say keep your eyes on. These guys will be part of the next wave, like massively. A little bit of struggles here, but AMD, we know we've seen him break out already, and we watch guys like NVIDIA to see if these guys follow through and keep good structures. NVIDIA at 428, right? He's about to clear one of the levels we said to pay attention to. So going into today, semi is definitely something to keep your eyes on if the market keeps strength. The VIX move, like I said, you want to see this guy get back to 2360. As long as he shockwaves here, this could be like dangerous. But that's what we're watching right now. He's got a very clearly defined area between what Leon knows and 2360. You guys are asking about crypto. There was a lot of euphoria when we hit 12K, and euphoria is usually followed by the dump move. So a lot of folks got caught up in that. We know that when crypto takes violent dumps, though, and he's in an uptrend, he tends to reset and correct back towards the highs. So this move was enough to challenge everybody who might have hidden stops like under this shockwave, right? It would have cleared everybody out under these key levels, flushed them out. And so then you wait to see if he can actually structure out to begin rising structure again to head out of here. Just like this, It's more violent, but it's nothing different than watching him like dump down here and then start to climb his way back out. 2B's that level. But you're only looking for him to like start a rising floor out of this, So right now, at this moment, what the hell? That's your first major low of this whole situation. Don't know if this will be exactly his final one, if he comes down and makes any more deeper lows, but right now you're kind of just waiting to see if that cleared the books. Structurally, he looks good. What we talked about, that the longer Bitcoin sat in his shockwave while the S&P 500 pumped out, is the harder he closed the differential in that performance, which is what we saw happen here, right? Bitcoin finally start to close up with what the S&P 500 has been doing, because they are correlated. So if he's going to hold trend structure, this is just a move to clear most people out and allow him some more ease of movement. ultimately 10.4 was a level we said was a key level on this guy, and he's more than sustained that. So that's really your line in the sand. Oops, 10.4 is up here, still well above it. And like we do in stocks, right, you've got this massive climax spike here. And if this is indeed the range of it, right, just like we watch for on a shockwave range, he's oscillated from the high to the low really violently. So he could set up for, you know, a range here, and then we just wait to see if he's going to head out of that thing, you know, to the north. Somebody asked about ETH's outperformance in it. I mean, really, it's just a shuffling of performance in the basket of crypto. ETH BTC is blowing out of this range, so as long as ETH BTC is still pumping out of the structure we pointed out, Ether is the outperformer on Bitcoin in the dollar market. So this is just part of the trend structure of ETH underlying current against Bitcoin reflected in dollars that you're seeing. But as long as this is trending, ETH is the better buy. So you're having a bit of a cycle, you know, in shitcoins versus BTC. And that was something evident from some of these guys, right? They were stronger, leading it, showing that was something that was coming. Link and those guys had been ahead of this and pumping already on BTC. Now Ether's playing catch up. So you're having a bit of a mini alt cycle versus Bitcoin. So you see a lot of strength in shitcoins right when that's happening. This is BNB. We showed you he had the same structure as Bitcoin to escape. You could have gone up against here. He went through it and it's kind of cruising, chasing down performance. But yeah, all of your shitcoins really are just following like the basket move of some of your major shitcoins versus BTC, which was shown first really in Link. I'm not sure if XTZ is showing that so much. This is one guy I showed you here. You can come out and stop run, folks. We're watching this level on the bottom. XTZ is just running a much larger shockwave. And if ETH keeps pushing like he is, then it puts this guy Tezos at a greater and greater discount on ETH. So worth watching this shockwave linger while the ETH shockwave goes fucking flying right now. So like I said, the farther this runs, the more interesting XTZ gets as he lingers. But he still needs to structure out to chase it, so it doesn't mean go fucking FOMO it. Alright, let me check you guys. Yeah, Uniswap could be a great fundamental reason for why ETH is running like that. The name of the moving average I'm using is my moving average. Get over the green and red moving average. Jesus, there's so much more to get into. You guys get caught up in indicators. Focus on price and stop focusing on like colorful indicators. That's how people sell you guys bullshit. What's the name of the indicator on the right? What's the name of the moving average? Here, take a break and stop worrying about the indicators on the chart. You got into Telegram and you're like, what's this indicator? What's that indicator? That's not what we do. All right, I could delete them all if that's going to help you focus on the price. Stop focusing on the indicator. Volume profile, we talk about a lot. A moving average. There's not secret tricks to this. They're just things that help you get perspective on price. But focus on price. We have so many videos where people are like, what's that red and green thing? What's that red and green thing? And it's like somebody can sell you a flashy red and green indicator. It won't help you at all. It doesn't change anything. Read the price. That's where your focus needs to be. Alright, so that's ETH. That covers that. So you guys got to go look there at crypto, what's going on. And like we said, BTC is in trend after 10.4. So past that, you're just looking for the restructure and continue that. Stronger guys like Ether, ETHUSD, definitely worth keeping on your radar as long as the ETH BTC is in trend. That's the ETH USD breakout. So that was the big bull flag we showed of him. So with ETH being strong in multiple markets, right, his move has just been absolutely ridiculous. some of these laggard guys, LTC is not really the strength, but they are having like a sympathetic move. So you're seeing that. We watched this base range on the same shockwave for LTC, and that guy is pushed out of it. Still weak, but structurally he's out, so he may have room to trend higher. And EOS, I know everyone keeps asking about this pile of shit. Not your best of breed. This is why we never focus on it. Eats a pile of shit. Anybody who's sitting there staring at this thing has missed the moves in bigger names. XRP has had a surprising, strong move out of there. We looked at his base also, and now he's got to conquer the last high to drive him into his lows. Again, this is why we talk about playing strength, though, right? You see the difference in chasing down the guys who are the weakest in the market versus playing the leadership. It's just a safer bet to play leadership. So that's it for our crypto review, and we covered our currencies, right? Just looking at currencies where they were. They're just having recalls out the ranges we spoke about. So, all right. Where are we at? I'm going to throw you guys a link to this chat. So, chat's about participation. Some of you may have realized that you've been removed from that Telegram that came in last week. We're not kidding. If you go in there and don't do anything, we're going to remove you. It's permanent. We're not going to sit there and put a link for people to sit in the room and stare for indicators and hot tips. That is not what the room is. It's a room about participation. So we're really serious about that. When 100 of you show up and don't do anything in a room, can you imagine? How does a chat room work if everyone shows up and doesn't chat? It's really retarded. So if you show up and do that, we delete you. So if you're going to come in there, be willing to participate. The room's free, but our time isn't. So, be willing to come in and have a conversation, learn about some shit you've never seen before. Stop fishing for indicators when you come in there. No one's going to give you that. No one's going to give you confirmation bias about your charts. And stop bringing outside books and garbage into a channel of the show host and expecting me to talk to you about it. I'm going to throw the book out and your ass. Be serious. No one walks into somebody else's art gallery with somebody else's painting. That's really stupid and disrespectful. So cut it out. All right. And anybody who DMs me, I've been following you for a year and doesn't know how to get in this room, clearly has been following me. So you're going to get clowned if you DM me that stupid message. It means you're not paying attention to the show. There you go. Say hi to everybody. Make sure to put on an avatar, hide personal information when you get into the chat. And participation, again, is key. All right. Sun Seiko, thanks for the bits, Chief. See bits from Made BTC. Microsoft TikTok. Thoughts on that? Forced negotiation by the U.S. government. Not many thoughts on it at all. Trump got his campaign rally trashed by TikTok, and now TikTok's being broken apart by Trump. Who knows? It may be as invasive as they say as a backdoor for the Chinese government. It may just be the fact that his ego is butthurt, or a combination of the two. DraftKings. Somebody asked for a look at DraftKings. I'm not saying anything too urgent on this guy, not on a daily. I think we can all see the yeah, I mean, it's just a larger scale bull flag. I don't think that guy's ready to do anything crazy at the minute. Low resolution, he's got one too. That could help him go back towards the angle. But nothing I think is imminent at this minute. Doesn't look bad, just kind of looks stalled. The volume is nice and high though in the structure he's in since he's gotten up to this range. What am I on? This must be no, what the hell is that? Oh, my volume profile looks crazy down there. But yeah, he's running good volume in this entire range that he's got up here to, and he's staying with that volume. So this shockwave structures out like this and turns up again, longer time scales, this guy looks pretty interesting. For right now, it doesn't look so hot. What else you guys looking at? How do you plan for a big pre-market change? I mean, we plan pre-markets here. So we're looking at things. I generally do the show at this point in time to give futures as much time as possible to figure themselves out overnight. Doing the show in the Asian time zone was dangerous because of what can happen all the way through fucking European sessions by the time you get around here. So I tried to do exactly that. Plan right here as close to the market opening as possible to leave as little things to change things, whether it be numbers or any surprise occurrences coming to the U.S. market. Somebody asked me for the Shanghai composite, was it? Let's go get that chart. So all things China are definitely interesting given the war that we're having. This looks like a hard time scale version of dumps we've seen in other things. China really, the Shanghai composite hasn't done shit in the last couple of years. But like we look at like in box ranges that form, we can kind of see a pretty clear one here that if he escapes this, would make China worth paying attention to again. So, remains to be seen, but that level of double testing like that, stop run here, this guy can get up here, this becomes pretty interesting to watch. I think in the aerospace catch, China is something that doesn't come off your radar for the next decade. It's really a race versus us and them in the world, and not Russia or anybody else who really stands to compete versus us, not India or anybody. It's really just us in the West versus China. So definitely some interesting things to go over. Probably need to be a little bit more specific in our breakdown, but this is the Shanghai comp that you'd want to look at. In the nearest term, right, we're really zoomed out on this. From the lows of Christmas, where PPT pushed our market, to COVID lows, structurally, this market doesn't look terrible. Alright, that's the PPT lows, huge shockwave, COVID lows, and you're in a pretty serious bull flag right there. That this was probably not something you should take off your radar even right now. Bull flag's a little bit better structured at higher resolution, but let's take a look. Or do you care about this ugly thing at? Yeah, it's not like the greatest bull flag structure, but it's a bull flag nonetheless. So possibly get some research together and bring some Chinese players that are following this, but definitely some strength in some Chinese players. If you look through the market, the Douyus and Huyas and stuff of the world, there is some stuff moving around in there. Yeah, not a bad one to put on the radar. To back up and take a look at what he looks like. I'll bring you some Chinese names on the next show. Don't forget to build a Winternomics TV watch list. That sounds like prudent advice. All right, let me catch up to where you guys are at. Somebody asked me for a DDD. That's like the worst 3D printer of them all, isn't it? Does it look like big accumulation? Yeah, but let accumulation finish. You know, to buy into it and say it looks like it's going to be something and then don't let it finish that's just FOMO. One thing we show you about trending stocks is you don't have to figure out where the bottom of hell is. This is like not your best move, right? Buying into the weakest thing possible because it looks cheap because it's at its lows is how people get caught in bear markets fishing for the bottom of them. This 3D printing company looks fucking terrible to say the least. And if you've been bottom fishing this, I mean, he hasn't looked good in a long fucking time. We show you so many stocks that are in motion where you can like allow, you know, accumulation structures to play out and then participate in the markup that comes from it. And so many people find themselves chasing shit like this because they want to have what is quote unquote a low price. And that's really a problem of resolution and like perspective, that you think low is just a low number because what you see in the past. This is how people get killed buying downtrends. Everything we do in here is to point you to stuff that is in motion and that shows like structural, fundamental strength to the directionality that we want to play and on different resolutions. Medina, Euro USD, that wasn't who I mentioned, that was Euro Aussie. He said Euro USD pumping 164, that was Euro Aussie. And this is a good indication on some of the things that are going on with regard to the VIX. So we do keep watch on him right now. The VIX is kind of trapped in a range, and this guy has like shot up through 164. I do keep him on your radar. You know, generally one of the two of them is not quite telling the truth. Right now with the dollar bouncing, he does put like a headwind on risk assets. It is not what you want to see is dollar strength. There is strength in the market, which is good to see. And tech has been occupying a risk off side of the market at the same time. So I am keeping track of this. The further this guy pushes out without the VIX following it, generally means one of the two of them is not quite telling the truth. And there is some weird shit going on with the cross currents from the strong dollar popping back up right now. And gold is still staying higher, right? So gold and the dollar tend to act a lot alike. They both act as like safe havens for risk assets. And gold being strong with the dollar at the same time kind of tells you like, to be at least cautious. One of them is likely to give up the ghost to the other one. So right now, this guy being outside here, yeah, this is a concern to see. You generally want to see this falling and risk on and falling with the VIX, and that's not quite the case. As long as the VIX is tied up in a range, this guy trending backwards is not too outside the box. The VIX is just not falling anymore. If the VIX begins to pump and goes back through the Leon FOMO level, then you have a problem in risk assets. So it's caution is all you can really do with this right now. There's no absolute move you can make with it. All right, catching up. Let's see. Can we get some NASDAQ analysis? For sure. Always love to look at the NASDAQ. So he looks a lot like our tech indexes. Look at the Qs to look at the NAS. So we've done this range some time ago when we looked at like where Apple had been in a range. And much like the range you see outlined here, he's just in a higher version of the same thing. Up ever so slightly from it, but ultimate low is right here. And we can kind of see him pushing back up to the top of this range. So he's nothing different than the range that we have here. The NAS looks good on lots of time frames. Been pretty steady in his grind higher on his way out. Chopped his all-time high, chopped everybody up on it, pushed out another range, sits in a shockwave above that. And then, of course, our big caps, our Facebooks, all those guys look a lot like him or are leading the structure. Facebook on the gap right now is, we see where he's at. He's pushed out above his range. This is the chop of the all-time high. The Nas is already done. So you want to see stuff like this. Microsoft, who's going to pick up TikTok. Big old bull flag on that guy. We told you to pay attention to software. We talked about package software on the last show. We talked about Adobe and some of these guys. So these dudes look pretty crazy. I'm not sure why I did this big ass line too here. Did it for some reason. But if you see these guys turn up, tech looks good. There'll be some of these guys. We're paying attention to these shockwaves again. These are ones that paid attention to last show. Software tends to be the more risk-off side of tech. If you see strength in him, you generally don't see that great of strength in semis at the same time. So you kind of want to pay attention to whether or not software becomes a stronger guy. With some of the stuff we see in the Euro Aussie and the dollar keeping strength, you likely don't see like a broad-based like risk-on move. You generally see tech or some of these guys moving without industrials, without banks. So watching that also, see if banks stay weak or what these guys do in the intraday today. Citigroup, was a good proxy for this. Keep watching. It's just not been doing shit, but he will have his day. Airlines also still not doing shit. I know a lot of people's eyeballs are on these dudes. These guys are going to come along when it really looks obvious that the market's going to clear up from COVID, not before. A lot of people chasing these are getting fucked up doing that. And Boeings of the world don't look so hot, right? Boeing, we draw this range out, also very dangerous. Who knows how far the dip goes down? Any bit down he goes, though, and doesn't hit the lows generated in the last shockwave, equals still a rising structure. So these guys are just not something to step in front of right now, right? These guys look like death. This is why you don't want to hunt the guys who are weak in the market. You want to wait till they have good structures. They'll just kill you if you go chasing these things. Sorry. Wow, what the hell? Twilios of the world, shit like that. This is where the money's going right now. We put him on the show before a while ago. The world is moving online. That is where the trends are. That's where the strength is. Antisocial, if you guys even think about Peloton, we had this guy on the show for how long ago? Right? This trend's still not done. Antisocial, still fucking, moving. Flowers, I even told you to pay attention to some of these old dudes from the old internet era. I know this guy's thin as shit, but he just cracks me up. I know a little bit too much about this company. But flowers.com, all these stocks, of the internet bull run are making comebacks without people really paying attention to it. It is like you've officially actually reached the internet age that people thought 20 years ago was supposed to happen. With COVID, you forced the world online. And that's really where the market is. It's like a revenge of the past is happening. That's why I brought these guys up to pay attention to. These stocks from 20 years ago are fucking moving like freight trains. And nobody seems to realize that this is happening, Qualcomm is a chart that I use for Litecoin Winter, and he has finally taken out his internet fucking highs. This is the Litecoin Winter fractal right here, and this is how long it's taken for him to see his highs. That's pretty astonishing, right? This is when they believed that we were going to be on the internet, and this is when we've been finally forced to be on the internet. So pretty astonishing. So a lot of those old guys should be on your radar. The internet stock or the crash cycle stock chart is actually Cisco. This is the stock chart you see whenever you see the emotion chart. It's Cisco Systems that's underneath it. So looking at some of the guys from his age make it to all-time highs right now does warrant some attention to the original internet stock and many of the networking guys around him, since they're the backbone of the internet. So interesting stuff right there. All right. Catching up, catching up. BTC dumped so fast on the pullbacks, the ability to stop or a stop limit. If you're in an exchange that's really illiquid, like a lot of crypto exchanges are, a stop limit is going to set like a trigger to get you out, but within a range of price that if there's not enough coin, the price can pass through without you executing and you can get fucking devastated. That's kind of the thing that you saw, like, BitMEX and OKCoin and places like that over the years use a stop limit because there's not enough liquidity and you'll get fucked up. It literally forces your account into margin calls when you trade on exchanges that don't have the liquidity for it. You have to have enough coin for everybody whose trigger is in the same place to fill out. So if, like, when you stop through a level like 11.2 and there's only 400 coins there at the specific price point of all the triggered stops and your limit is only for like fucking like, a 50-cent range or something like that, you won't get out. You'll get your account fucking decimated. So it sucks, but a stop is probably your best bet in crypto because you can't count on there being enough liquidity. A stop limit will work great in things like the S&P 500 and Apple and shit that has massive liquidity. But if you pass through a key area and the range of your limit isn't enough for there to be liquidity to get you out, you'll die. If you're going to use a stop limit in crypto, you need the range of the trigger to the possible like slippage amount you give it to be wide enough for you to get a chance to get out. It can't be like a dollar range in Bitcoin. You'll get fucking annihilated trying to do that. It's going to have to be like a couple bucks to make sure you get coins to get you out. People who want to have really specific outs and stops and then use a limit don't understand the liquidity of the crypto market. You'll get fucked up 9 times out of 10 trying to use a very narrow range stop limit. If you use a stop limit, the range needs to be fairly big to account for liquidity problems. Otherwise, a stop market is a better bet when things can move at the speed you see there. And expect that you can experience significant slippage. Thank you, sensitive user. Yes, the value provided is definitely beyond the indicators. Can you check out Dash? All right, I will go back and check crypto out and check out Dash in a second. I might be kind of farther back of the chat here. We haven't seen the crypto basket in the last streams. No, haven't had a reason to put that up. I think we covered pretty much everything we need to on crypto, to be honest. I'll pull up that Dash in a second for the person that asked. Thoughts on Roku and Netflix? Roku has been a beast for some time, and Netflix, obviously after COVID, right? Netflix has become a fixture for anybody stuck inside. More than that, Netflix's content has gotten phenomenal in the last couple of years compared to the shit they were putting out as Netflix originals a few years back. It's pretty entertaining to watch what's on there now. Thoughts on commodities like sugar, coffee, and daily necessities? Don't have any thoughts on sugar and coffee right now. I could pull them up and look at them, but I don't have any thoughts on it. All right. Roku, let's do that. All right, let's see where Roku is. So he was a big runner in 2019. The structure he's got here, right, looks like a gigantic bull flag on this res. It looks like the early days. I can tell you the sentiment read goes, I shit all over this company in 2018 during Nebula, July 2018, because I was stuck in an Airbnb on summer break with my son doing Nebula, and I had to do it through a Roku set-top box, which was like the most horrendous thing in the world, and it's been like one of the craziest sentiment reads ever. I personally think these things are fucking the worst goddamn thing on the planet, which is probably they work for old people, like older than me. But Roku doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Structurally, this guy is setting up for what on this resolution. If this is the bull flag all the way down to 50, then the fucking next move is fucking epic. There is a rather intelligent fund that's made some pretty amazing plays that are big in this stock. At this res, we're down to daily. Really clean on that low. And then this structure is a pretty easy to see, flag structure here. He breaks north out of this. He needs to take out. It's a pretty good level. He's basically chopping right now, right? This is the COVID dump level we see on so many guys like FedEx and UPS. He's shockwaving that level. So shredding anybody who filmed with that, and then an escape out of this would look really good if Roku positioned himself to head out of there after chopping the shit out of everybody who bought this. He could probably push out pretty violent even through these levels. But I think Roku looks good. Netflix, along with the rest of Fang, looks all look pretty good. Had a pretty crazy blowout there into the fives, and much like Tesla, when you see the climax point and the retrace this violent, you generally need some heal time for him, but I don't think he looks bad even still. As long as the rest of Fang doesn't turn over, the market continues to push higher. This guy is absolutely broken out of a much larger range. I like watching just this range. He like kind of look a box range we looked at in the other guy. We looked at the Shanghai Composite, that little area there he's marking out of. So it doesn't look too bad at all. This is a huge range. He needs to develop another structure up here. He's got shockwave there. Let's see. That'd be something to keep an eye on sooner than later. So yeah, so let's see, dropping down with. Let's put him to the ultimate climax low. You guys love these big old fucking marker lines, don't you? It looks like he's kind of possibly even ready to turn. He's got to take out this last level up here at 506, but see what he's willing to do. How deep did he get? He pretty much took out anybody who bought any of the structure on the breakout and killed everyone. Not the worst levels to get to. I think if he rotates a little bit, and turns back up and cuts through this 506 level, he becomes more interesting and starts to realign himself with the rest of what Fang is doing. Right now, he's kind of probably just finishing off everybody who got caught in this climax dump. But, that's not the most terminal structure. It can look like it. Depends what levels that dump takes out. Like Tesla, if the dump isn't really that serious, let's see. Not that one. Not that. Forget about that. Like in this, right? This wave down was violent, but held a respectable level underneath, and then is able to pump up out of it, and still kind of technically holding it. Not saying that this is the most bullish structure in the world, but Netflix has to violate some stuff deeper under him before he looks like he's in real deep shit on this retrace. For now, zoomed in, it looks pretty scary, but once you step back out of it, it's really just killing everybody who bought the parabolic out of the breakout of this box range. It doesn't look too terrible. If he rotates around a little bit more time, he probably looks pretty good again, especially if the market stays healthy. All right. What about KMB? Kimberly Clark. Consumer non-durable. Ooh, that's a good looking chart. Household personal care. I like this one. Let's go out to the big time frames. Well, that's as out there as you can ever want, right? So let's take a look at this one. I like this look. So that's how we go through all-time highs before. Small chop on the way through. Always good to watch things like this, right? This is the part that fucks people up so they don't participate after you leave. The chop on the way through. Like it's very rarely a breakout and just run, you know. So you always want to pay attention to that. So we look at how this guy's doing it again on how he's leaving. Doesn't have any real chop through, right? One shot out. Wouldn't be surprised if it comes back and chops that level. But if it holds the structure he's in now above there, that's easy to see. And that's pretty much what we're watching right here, right? Always a chance of him dipping through the base level and stop running people a little bit. If he does, chance of him drifting to the old level here at 149 is possible, and making a larger bull structure. If he gets out of here, you know, then you're looking for what he can structure out north of here, leaving. All things considered, trend-wise, you want to think about how long this duration of this structure is here that he's stepping out in. It's got a pretty good healthy structure. Wouldn't be bad to see like a corrective structure on this resolution, so you don't get caught like in the pullback of like this entire arc here. Let me think. Look at this, how long the duration of that push is. It looks a little. Just how long has he been in motion? I want to get an idea. This is the duration of the initial wave. That's the lowest point in that structure. If he has another breakout, he probably has it within this time horizon. And then that leg probably corrects a little bit stronger, right? So if he's going to leave this thing and push again, he probably does it within this time horizon. If not, if he begins to correct and chop this level, then the move after he does chops this level will be something to pay attention to. One of the two here. Alright. Kimberly Clark, that wasn't a bad one. EPWK. So we meander around, check a couple things. 909, I gotta be done. Damn, time flew on me fast. Upwork. Can't say I like this guy as much as I like what I'm looking at before. I'm gonna have to wrap here pretty shortly though. Another package software guy. Big old bull flag, right? Not hard to see. Pretty clean range right there. He tested that on the dump. It doesn't look terrible. This level needs to fail in the structure for the down flag. He's failing that right now. So for Upwork, if he sustains that level breakout, sustains the rising structure he's got, you know, he looks fairly bullish on this resolution. Jump back a bit, see where he's at. Looks a lot like the rest of package software that's kind of like working its way up, you know. Don't know how he ranks in the basket best of breed, but doesn't look terrible. Looks like the rest of the software. So got to leave you with something here to go into the day. Ultimately, looking at the market, you still have a strong dollar out there. This can get tired. This is the Qs at the highs. As always, pay attention to this at 267 right now. So you're still inside the range that you've got here. 268 is the high right here on this last lower high. So anything that dicks off in this range can be dangerous. You're going to gap up to about 267, 268, pretty close to this level now. And this is the range that you're in. So Apple looks crazy. He's out. Apple's pre-market gap, you pay attention to him just like he did the same. He can gap and chop people a little bit, but when he's strong and he's in his breakouts, you don't doubt it. A lot of times you can see Apple move on his own without the bulk of the market, and when Apple slows down, the rest of the market plays catch up. Being a $1.5 trillion company, he's like an economy unto himself. So he's a really good benchmark of asset to asset valuation for everybody else. That's why I say so goes Apple, so goes the market. He's so big that the market will reprice on his ass the further he moves. So the higher he gets, he kind of sets a benchmark for where everybody else can get to. And so the higher he goes, the higher the market can go. I don't know, somebody's calling me right now. What the fuck? I'll do that. So semis on watch, same as ever. Tech is strong. Within that, you want to watch semis or even IGV also to see if you see strength in software. A lot of the software names we saw are going to need a push here. We see this guy looks a lot like SMH, a lot like XLK. If IGV rotates on SMH, then you're going to see a lot of package software guys show strength while the broader market doesn't show much at all. For now, industrials look like shit. Basic materials, miners still look good. Check oil real quick before we walk away. See where that is. Energies look like shit. Energy's been relatively pretty bad. And we saw the level that we talked about. If energy could have pushed out of, it would have been interesting for them. Oops, not that far out. We highlighted a level to watch, right? The attempt to break out here has failed. So until oil restructures to get out of that, it doesn't look horrible. He's just stalled on his exit. So energy for the time being looks like shit while this guy languishes. But metals do not. So something worth watching there on oil, which is helping keep energy weak. Solar's kind of backed off a little bit. So really the focus right now that I'm watching today is watch the VIX levels, watch that VIX if you can come down to the low end of the range. That gives us another chance to go crazy bull. SMH components and some of your software guys, kind of a toss-up which guy is going to be the leader today. I'd watch them both. And let's check bonds real quick before we get out of here. Bonds down decently pre-market, coming off of I guess a good area for resistance, but nothing really to write home about. So keep your eyes on gold. Keep your eyes on this retrace in the dollar strength that you're seeing right now. Keep your eyes on semiconductors. That's where your leadership is going to probably likely be behind Apple's run right now. You're going to watch for a lot of people to see if they chase Apple down and reprice on it, or if Apple chases them back towards the downside. Right now, I think Apple's move is kind of like so violent, it's telling you a lot of people missed it and are pretty much shitting themselves right now as he fucking arcs out again. The 4-to-1 stock split makes people think that he's going to get chased by small investors, but trust me, small investors aren't what's moving a stock this fucking big. Apple will always make sense of, in terms of other assets. So a lot of people get caught up in like Apple going crazy and is this share stock split going to cause FOMO to push Apple? Not at the scale this company's at. You look at something like Apple versus Amazon. These guys keep relative value across years of time because there's more going on than just the price that you see. So Apple, honestly, like if you look at him in the last few years versus Amazon, he's holding relative value with this guy, even still in FANG. He's declined a lot in relative value as Amazon's become a monster retailer. But I show you things like this to show you the stability when you remove the dollar pricing from things like Apple, to show you that like in this entire last half decade, really Apple's relationship with Amazon is held consistent while you've seen the market go all over the fucking place. And this is one of the problems with people looking at market specific in the USD is that you lose perspective, you lose context of the asset's relative value. When you look at it like this, you can really realize that Apple isn't doing something fucking crazy, right? It's keeping its pace with other big component stocks. The entire world asset base is just being repriced in currency, and that's kind of like the different side of the equation. The expression is moving, and most people don't know how to quantify it. But when you look at things like this, it kind of shows you that Apple's relativistic value to things like Amazon isn't moving at all. It's rather static, and so the entire market itself is repricing in terms of paper. So that's it for me, guys. It's pretty late. Everybody gotta get ready to get the opening bell and stuff like that. I'll try to get some Chinese stocks for the next time we come on here. That took a lot of time. Medina, thanks for the bits, homie. catching up on last chats before I sign off. Drew, thank you for the bits. Roku's got earnings this week. For any of you guys that are watching stuff on the show, always be aware of earnings. Don't just walk blindly into fucking having something and eating earnings and by the grace of God you get away with it because we have the right direction here. Like, that's all part of your planning. You should definitely not be buying into something that you've never checked has an earnings schedule for this week and getting caught by surprise. Some of you escaped with your asses on UPS and Apple, and it's awesome that it worked out, but that's not part of like a good plan to accidentally make money. So be aware of what you're doing. Is the rush to gold? Unless you don't realize that gold is not rising any faster than every other asset, there is no real rush to gold. Relatively speaking, gold is rising with everything else, so it's a relative thing. So gold rising in terms of dollars cannot discount everything else rising in terms of dollars, like Apple and Amazon. They're still rising faster. So there is not so much a rush to gold as there is a reprice to all assets. Ito Shokohan. We are seeing inflation. We're seeing it in cattle prices. We're seeing it in commodities. We're seeing it in risk assets. It's everything across the board is being risen by this rising tide. So yeah, it is inflationary. That is what you're seeing. But there's not a rush to gold any more than there's a rush to get away from things that are losing purchasing power. We've gone over Intel in past shows, and he's choking. If you go 2 shows ago, we have some stuff about Intel in there. Don't have time to do them today. Activision on gaming. Not going to do that right now. Just out of time. Just catching up on the final messages. Jezebel, Sunseiko, appreciate the bits. We'll cover some of this stuff more in depth. We talked about Intel losing his leadership position a few shows ago, so go back and check that out. We talked about AMD and semiconductors. Desmond Chan, thank you for the bits. Spirit of the Bull, respect. Catching up. Alright, I think I've caught up to everything that was questions. Yeah, great accident to get earnings right, but definitely be careful and plan correctly. If those gaps have gone against you, you're going to lose so many times the risk that you were going to make on other things. It'll set you back massively. Again, that's the benefits of playing a bull market, that the trend, puts the statistics in your favor and you do get away with being bad behavior. That's why we say, everybody's a genius in the bull market, because a lot of the odds that, are in your favor save you from yourself. But that still doesn't mean don't have, a well thought out strategy. Don't blindly buy stuff. Don't not check earnings. Like, keep tabs of everything. Every single trade you make should look like a business decision. You should be fully informed of what you're doing before you step in. You should know where your fucking exit's going to be. You should know what your expected returns are going to be before you decide to make adjustments to your plan. All that should be etched in stone to help you stop FOMO, stop revenge trading, stop all that crazy shit. Have a plan that will keep you away from fucking doing dumb shit. If you have 5 great plays on your list today and none of them trigger, then you have nothing to do today. You don't want to rush to double back to find something else because you feel like you're missing out. That'll make you make mistakes. Just have a plan, and like any business, execute the ones that become viable, throw away the ones that don't, and manage the ones that you're in. And that's really it. So hope everybody's good. Hope everybody's ready to go into the day. Like I said, keep your eyes on all the things we talked about: dollars, semis. Watch how Apple opens. Watch how the day progresses. Watch gold miners. A lot of those guys look pretty good on there. That Kimberly Clark looked pretty interesting. Probably good to check out some other people in that space and see if they share similar chart structures with that. That looked pretty attractive. So we'll look for some Chinese names for you guys on the next one, and then everybody out there, have a good day. Don't get wrecked. Peace.
Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly.